Hey, what's up, guys? King J coming to you live from hell. And today I want to talk about music. Well, more importantly, I want to talk about Drake's music and Kanye's music. Not this deep. I could literally talk about their music for hours. But I just want to talk about their current projects. So, there's been a feud going between Drake and Kanye for many years. Back in 2010, Kanye had made this beat for Drake's album "Thank Me Later" for the song "Better Find Your Love," and the song was supposed to be a big hit. It was not. Drake kind of felt away about that. Even in the there's a alleged situation when Drake made "Forever" with Lil Wayne, Kanye, and Eminem. Kanye was being like a brat on the music video set for that song, and it just things have gone worse and worse. When Drake in 2011 made his song with DJ Khaled, "I'm on One," he says this line where he's kind of taking shots at Big Sean, where he keeps going boy. That was Big Sean's thing. And then he also says, "I'm feeling like the throne is for the taking, watch me take it." And that was an obvious shot to Kanye and Jay-Z's "Watch the Throne." And then you fast forward a little bit, and then you have Pusha T, who's been beefing with Drake forever, and he has gone on record saying that he was warning Kanye about Drake. And then so Pusha T disses Drake on an album that was completely produced by Kanye. Drake didn't really like that. And so he fires back with an honestly pretty dope response. What was it called? The Duppy Freestyle. That was really cool. I was not expecting him to go that hard. And then, of course, Pusha T gives us the story of Adidon, where he reveals that Drake has a son that he's been trying to hide with this porn star, and just destroys Drake. Like, there's no coming back from that. And so Drake just doesn't know what to do. He claims that he made this diss record that was too intense and too hardcore, and he didn't want to put it out. But really, he even says he took an L, and if that's what the game is going to remember him by, a chink in his armor, then he'll just have to take it. But he was done with that game. But that's the thing is about Drake, is he loves this beef. And the irony is he's had beef with Jay-Z, and even Jay-Z, who no one ever talks about. One time that Jay-Z really dissed Drake, and I thought it was it was hardcore. He says, because Drake had said something about how Jay-Z spends all his money on art pieces, and that he was it wasn't even really a shot, I don't think, but Jay-Z didn't really like it, so he said, "Sorry, Mrs. Drizzy, for so much art talk, silly me rapping about shit that I really bought." And I thought, my God, that's a really hardcore diss, calling him Mrs. Drizzy. And then, of course, Jay-Z goes on to make music with him again. But Kanye has always tried to keep it cool with Drake, knowing full well that he was jealous or afraid that his spot was going to be taken by Drake. And then you have somebody like Kid Cudi, who, you ask me, Drake and Kid Cudi came out at the same time, and they had some overlap. Kid Cudi made this stoner rap stuff for the lonely kids, and Drake made this stuff, this simpy music that was for guys and girls and guys who wanted to get girls. It was like told this story, this lover boy story. And when I was in high school, that shit was perfect. It just it hit at the right moment for me, at least. But as time progressed, Kid Cudi evolved into something else, and Drake sort of didn't stay the same. Sonically, he moved with whatever was popular, but in terms of content, it stayed the same. And then you have Kanye, who really pushed the envelope, especially with an album, with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and even before that, we have 808 and Heartbreak. That changed everything. That was an album that I think, think about it, there's not a lot of bad words on that album. He's a different type of person. He's very focused on a topic. and the beats, they're these really, somber, in kind of slow melodies, these 808s, and that sound has echoed into today. That's where these auto-tune melody rapper emo guys really got that, like, that was the start of it. And at the time, nobody appreciated it, nobody really understood it. They kind of shit on it. You look at it now, it's like that really was ahead of its time. Then he went through this whole, that was a bad time for him. That album was not really as popular as his other stuff. A lot of rap fans were saying he was done. It just things, and then he had the Taylor Swift incident, and his mother died, and he had literally the artwork fold out for 808 and Heartbreak is him kissing his mother's cheek, and she had already passed away. So he was going through this extreme heartbreak. Big, as he put in one of the songs off of Cruel Summer, deep depression when his mama died. It's like, that shit never went away from him. So then he comes back with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and really not only hits it in a mainstream thing, but for some reason he hit it really big with a lot of hipsters and a lot of underground scenes, even, like the 4chan music board. When that shit came out, it was crazy. And so Kanye kind of solidified himself in this crazy way. And think about it, Drake was supposed to be on All the Lights. There's a verse of All the Lights that exists out there that he cut off, and of course he got on the remix later with Lil Wayne after Lil Wayne got out of jail. But there's this weird competition between them, but there's also, it's this unspoken kind of friendship rival, this frenemy thing. And then Kanye has Yeezus. To me, at that time, a lot of people weren't digging it. You could feel that it was rushed, but to me, sonically, it's probably his best album at this point. Sonically, it just has this hard-hitting, it's just this energy that he captured in this moment. And I feel like the thing about that Yeezus energy was he was going to get married. That album to me feels like a bachelor party in music form. So he kind of like lays it all out there, starts talking about this crazy shit. Then, he gets married to Kim Kardashian, and that's when things start to turn another story. You have Kim Kardashian involved. She's a mega star. She has all this family. She's got this show. She's got all this shit. And then Kanye and Jay-Z's relationship at a certain point takes a rift because apparently, this is alleged, Beyonce doesn't like Kim Kardashian and wouldn't want Kim Kardashian and Kanye's kids to hang out. She wants to be separated from that lifestyle, the type of person. It's understandable. So Jay-Z and Beyonce didn't even go to Kim and Kanye's wedding. Kanye is a very sensitive person. He was hurt by that. So he makes Life of Pablo, another rushed album, another weird sort of thing that shows that Kanye, he can't hide his inconsistency with all these leaks and all this shit that show time and time again he doesn't know when to put things out or when to sit on something, and we all just see it happening live. The Life of Pablo comes out, it was a huge success, and at the same time Drake puts out Views. Views had the song Pop Style, which had a Kanye verse and supposed to have a piece of a Jay-Z verse that was supposed to be The Throne. It was featuring The Throne, right? But Jay-Z didn't like Drake at that time because he was beefing with Meek Mill, who had just signed to Rockefeller with Jay-Z at that time. So Jay-Z didn't like that. He didn't know that song was going to be for Drake, and it was this whole little drama. And that was already a start in the rift between Jay-Z and Kanye that would eventually come during the tour of Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo, Kanye starts going on these rants. Now, this gets crazy, these rants. He starts talking about Richard Pryor's interviews, that you should go see them because that's what he's going through. He starts talking about how Jay-Z has killers, please don't send it to him. He starts shitting on the DJ Khaled and Drake song For Free, which was huge at that time. And once again, showing that he has an issue with DJ Khaled and Drake songs. which also makes sense because I don't think I've ever seen a DJ Khaled Kanye song. Jay-Z has worked with them, Drake has worked with them, Kendrick and Big Sean, all these people have worked with DJ Khaled, but not Kanye. It makes me wonder if there's something there. But and even wow, who is saying it on that Drake song when he's talking about how he has a bigger pool than Kanye? At the very end, it's DJ Khaled saying they don't want us to have a bigger pool than Kanye. That's DJ Khaled saying that. There's something there. There's something there that I haven't really thought about before. But you have Kanye. He starts taking shots at DJ Khaled and I guess Drake too for that song. Drake didn't like that too much, but he kind of kept it to himself because they were on a tour together. Everything was going well. He didn't want to have beef. But he calls out Jay-Z. Jay-Z didn't like it at all. He did not like the way that he said, our kids haven't even played together. He puts them on blast in front of the whole world, and everybody sees that. It's a sad moment. And Kanye has a mental breakdown, and he couldn't finish the tour. That was crazy. And through that, you had Kid Cudi also having a mental breakdown, calling out Kanye, saying he doesn't give a fuck about him, because Kanye has had Kid Cudi on every album since 808 and Heartbreak. So Kid Cudi worked on, he even had a verse on Yeezus that he didn't even approve or even know about. And he's like, yeah, Kanye hasn't been hitting me up, but he used a piece of my music for his album. Like, he could have called me up and I could have re-recorded it. So there was already a rift between him and Cudi too. But Cudi was working on this other album and he wanted Kanye to be on it, and Kanye just ditched him. And while he ditched him, he was working on the supposed album with Drake called Wolves, and working on a song that would eventually come out on Drake's More Life record, which was the Watch Out For Me, I'm About to Glow. I think that song was badass too. That was when they were living next to each other. Kanye and Drake were living next to each other. So who knows what was happening at that time. But Kid Cudi calls out Drake. Kanye says nobody gives a fuck about him. He's going for both of them, blah, blah, blah. So what does Drake do? He fucking gets a Kanye beat and shits on Kid Cudi in a rap song, saying, you were the man on the moon, now you just go through your phases. And it's like, everyone thought that was pushing it a bit too far, and I understand you're shitting on this man's mental health while he was in a mental facility and on Kanye's beat. So then the Pusha T and Drake beef starts, and that took everything in. And you notice he made that diss. Drake knew he couldn't beat Pusha T, but he also knew that he was bigger than Pusha T. So he goes straight past Pusha T and goes to Kanye. Kanye, who at this point was just somewhat of an innocent bystander. He wasn't really trying to get in this mix. He was really trying to keep a relationship with Drake. But he didn't like that. So what does he do? He makes Scorpion, and he adds all these disses to Kanye. Not Pusha T. He just lets Pusha T go. But he focuses on Kanye, and he stayed focusing on Kanye since Scorpion, still to this day. And then you have Kanye, who the tipping point was the song Kiki, Do You Love Me? Because that's Kim Kardashian's name. Kim Kardashian's involved with a lot of these issues, and when you really get down to the brass tacks of it. But so Kanye, he finds God. He doesn't want to cuss in his songs anymore. He doesn't want to play his old songs anymore. He wants to, because he has this weird crisis where he thinks his children, his daughters, are going to turn out like his wife. Irony. And so he's focused on this pure message. So he's censoring all these dudes' raps in his new album. And then you got Drake, who has his new album, which I think has a lot of really good songs, but he's spending a lot of time taking shots at Kanye. And it's like, yeah, okay, Kanye leaked his address in a post, like some petty shit. But Drake is somebody, it was Anthony Fantano who brought this up. It said, you know, Kanye is actually making music about shit that's personal to him, his mother, which honestly, when I hear Donda, I don't hear anything about his mother. I hear him rapping about slightly about his personal life without any explicit material, and God. That's all I hear when I hear that, the content wise. Drake is rapping about Drake shit all the time, and he's on the top and nobody could follow him. And a lot of Kanye diss. So it's like Drake has this world where he likes being this bad guy because it gives him this street cred that he never had. So he likes this beef. He really likes this. He thinks it works well for him. And it's funny because you go back all the way to that Jay-Z line, and on Light Up, on Drake's Thank Me Later. And he says, Drake, here's how they're going to come at you with some rap feuds trying to distract you. And, he warned him already then, but and then Drake references that again in More Life in the first song. He didn't listen to Hove on that old song when he told me pay it no mind. He just went with the beef. And honestly, I think that's what's seeming to be the downfall of Drake. I don't find beefy Drake that interesting. I find Drake, who's kind of just being a guy who can rap, who likes women and can sing, not this I'm gonna fucking show you what the fuck I am and goons, and that's not impressive to me. It's not interesting to me. And Kanye also doesn't do that well either. And so Drake released this diss that never came out of Andre 3000 song and Kanye is a horrible diss verse. He's not rapping very well. His flow is off. It's just ugly to me. But but then he's shitting on Drake and talking about Virgil Abloh and this whole thing. But it's like Drake almost took an L by leaking that. That could have just, because everybody liked that, everybody liked that track and was like, dude, you leaked out your own diss song thinking that'd be cool, but it was actually an L, a takeable L. And in terms of music, I do think there's a lot of really good songs on Drake's new album. I think there's a lot of fun songs. I think it's a return to form in a way, because the way that he has his features, it's a lot of the people that he came up with, except for Kanye. Even Kid Cudi's on there, which has never happened. And I thought that beef would never I don't even know how that happened. I'd love to see that conversation where they became cool. And I honestly think Drake did it on purpose as a flex to Kanye. He got Jay-Z on his album, and he got Kid Cudi on his album, and Travis Scott on his album, just as a way to show all your friends and the guys that you work with are also mine, and I got them here on my album. So Kanye has Kid Cudi, he also has Jay-Z, he also has Travis Scott on his album. So it's this weird thing that that it's like they're both kind of battling each other through people too, like through getting verses, which is weird because a lot of people don't want to choose sides, and there's no reason to choose a side. Honestly, you could like whatever the fuck you like, and you could these artists should work with whoever they want to work with. I honestly think it'd be cool if Drake and Kanye could make up and work together again. I liked the music they had together. I think there was potential. Now I could imagine a Kid Cudi, Kanye, and Drake song. That would be really cool. The Donda album doesn't have a lot of replayability for me. It has some good beats. The content is really off to me. It doesn't feel like genuine Kanye. It feels like Kanye limited himself. He limited himself to saying, I'm not going to cuss. I'm not going to do. You could feel the limit. You could feel that if he was really free, he'd be fucking talking shit. He'd still be rapping about God. He'd be rapping about his mother. He'd be rapping about his life, but he'd be fucking free. I feel like he's limited because he thinks he needs to be a role model to his daughters and sons and all this other shit that has to do with his faith. Now, I respect that and I understand that it doesn't translate well to the music. I think there's an opportunity for Kanye to come back and just hit us with some hardcore shit. Doesn't need to be vulgar. He's proved it before with 808s. 808s, he didn't really cuss, but the impact was still there. It didn't seem limited. It didn't seem like it seemed like he really got his point across. With Donda, it felt like he didn't have a point to make. He just wanted to show that he still exists. And he was like, yeah, just pretty much that. I felt like Kanye's been kind of off. Drake has been, a lot of people say Drake has had no motivation. That's what I feel, for me at least, is the cool part about him, is that He's got no motivation, so he's just on top. He doesn't need to work hard. He just gets it. He just fucking manifests everything he wants, and it works for him. It really does. So, I'm probably gonna be listening to these albums a little bit more. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with this beef. Hopefully, it gets squashed. Tell me what you thought about this long ass rant about Drake and Kanye, Drake versus Kanye, and all these other rappers involved. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below. King J out.